might be quite straightforward. It might be a case of somebody conducts a standalone post, i.e. a post that isn't comparable to anybody else's post, and you need that work conducting as you level up the business or you reopen. So you can give the required notice to the employee, obviously consult with them about the return, ensure their safety, and they will return to work. Now, if there is a group of employees who are conducting the same or similar work, but you don't require all of the group to come back, then it's going to be a case of you entering into a selection process and applying a selection criteria to that pool to select those who return and those who stay on furlough. Now, that criteria we need to ensure is objective and not tainted by any kind of discrimination. And it's essential, obviously, it meets the business needs at the relevant time. I take on board people's comments about childcare arrangements. Not all children are back at school, so it might be that within the criteria, childcare is part of the criteria and relevant criteria to consider in determining who should be brought back and who shouldn't be brought back. Because people who haven't got any childcare are probably going to be unable to return to work. So it's worth considering that as part of the criteria. Very much like a redundancy selection criteria, we're applying it to the pool, we're consulting about it, we are giving employees the opportunity to comment, and those then that are selected to return, we give them appropriate notice to return. Those who we've selected not to return and who will remain on furlough, ensure the communication is kept up with those people too. And advise them that they will remain on furlough, but this is the date on which we may require you to return, or it's probable that you will be required to return on this date. So making sure we don't ignore those people, and we're keeping up the consultation, we're keeping up the communication with those people as well.
Okay. We've had a comment from Rhiannon just saying that she's been told the opposite about returning to work after furlough, that no selection criteria is needed, more that to agree a sensible way with employees, but yes, a selection process wasn't needed. What's your advice and view on that?
Well, I think you'll need a selection process, because if you're ultimately deciding who should and shouldn't return, then there'll need to be a selection criteria that you apply. Now, I'm not saying it has to be, the usual disciplinary action, attendance level, flexibility that you might ordinarily see in a redundancy selection criteria. It's got to meet the business needs at that time. So, but there will need to be some element of selection, because if you don't require all of the pool to come back, you're going to need to determine who should and who shouldn't come back. Now, yes, if you can consult with employees, the pool, and agree with them a way forward, even better, because you're putting it in their hands. But ultimately, if there isn't an agreement on that, then you're going to have to stipulate some kind of selection criteria.